Welcome to another improv tip of the month. I'm jazz pianist and educator Bradley Sowash, and this time we're going to be learning a great old Christmas carol, Good King Wenceslas. Now, let's have a listen first. So, if you're just joining us, I'm Bradley Sowash, jazz pianist and educator. And in this improv tip of the month, we are going to learn by rote and ear how to play Good King Wenceslas. And then I'll show you some ways to jazz it up. And I'd like to say that I really like this tune around Christmas time because of the reminder that it's possible to get by the us and them. In other words, the lyrics describe a powerful person seeing a powerless person as equal and having similar human needs, and kind of a good Samaritan takes pity on him. So I love the message of this particular one. So let's learn this in the key of F, and this is how, if you're a pianist, you would learn it this way. You don't need all this music all the time. And if you're a teacher, you might teach it just this same way. So we're going to start in the key of F, but we're going to put our fourth finger on F because it's kind of a 5-finger position. It has our thumb on C, and so that sets the hand up nicely to play the whole first half. And it starts on F. It goes like this. So those notes are F, 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 G, F, F, C. The fingers 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 4, 1, and then D, C, D, E, F. Or fingers 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Now, maybe you need that again, and that works out really nicely because that's exactly what it does, is play it again. So here it is again. I'll call out the note names. F, 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 F. I can never say the names that my fingers are playing. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, F. Okay? So that happens twice. It's a good idea when you're learning a tune by rote or ear to notice its form. So if you have the first 4 measures, you have the second 4 measures. And most tunes will have some element of those opening strains later in the piece. So keep that in mind and be on the lookout for those. Let's run that one more time. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, F. Repeat. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, F. Okay. Now we're going to hop up to our 5th finger on C above middle C. And remember, we have a B flat because we're in the key of F, and just comes down the scale. C, B flat, A, G, and then we go up and skip. A. Well, I guess it's not a skip, it's more of a scale. So C, B flat, A, G, F. Let's do that again. C, B flat, A, G, F. That's the 3rd strain. And now we jump back to that opening position with our thumb on C and play the figure that we already know from measures 3 and 4. Those notes are D, C, D, E, F, F. So the whole 3rd strain, C, B flat, A, G, F. Jump down to 2nd finger on D, D, C, D, E, F, F. The 4th strain is similar to these two halves, but a little bit different. Starts on C. C, C, D, E, F, F, G. So it's a 5-finger scale with a couple repeated notes. C, C, D, E, F, F, G. Now hop up to that high C and play the same line you played that started line 3. And this tune has a quirk. It's a little longer on the end. So instead of being a nice, clean, bundled up square 8-measure tune, I just have a lead sheet here. Let me see. It's actually 16 measures. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And so it has that little extension on the end, do, dee, dee, which stretches it out to 18 measures. So let me just read a fun comment here. We can say note names when nobody else is listening, says Diana. Yeah, and everybody plays better in their practice than in the lessons, right? Oh, it sounded good at home. And Marty says, we call those in my studio, look out for music detective patterns. Oh, I like that. Like you're sleuthing out those patterns. That's really good analogy. Great to teach those repeating patterns. So I'm just going to run the whole melody one more time. If you want, you can play along with me. I'm going to use some foot percussion I have here on the floor just to keep a little beat. Starts on F with the 4th finger. 2, 1, 2, start on F. Lots of quarter notes. So that's the same thing twice. Jump up to pinky on C. Same as before. Start on C and come up. Jump up. Extension. Okay, so there's your tune. I hope you have that by now because I'm going to go on whether you do or not. And so we're going to take a look here at the chords next. And this is how I would build a tune. I like to use the word thanks, T-H-A-N-K-S. T stands for tune. We just learned a tune. And H stands for harmony. And then we're learning accompaniment, T-H-A. We probably won't have time for it today, but for improvisers, then we noodle on it and then kick back and then play a solo. So that spells thanks. But there's no time for that. Now we're just going to look at the chords over here, which I've preset here on my little whiteboard. And these would be the most basic chords, just using the 1, 4, and 5 that you'd expect it to fit in a folk tune. Notice we have a little bit of an extension here, some extra measures squeezed in to deal with that. So if we just did this in a real simple form, again, use Marty's detective clues. Look at how every phrase starts on an F. That's helpful. All first 3 phrases start on a B flat C, and then every phrase resolves on an F. But the 4th phrase is a little bit different. It has a kind of a note or a chord halfway through a measure. So there's a little bit of variety on that 4th phrase. And so how I would learn this the first time, of course, just I would play these in nice, comfortable positions that sound, that feel with the smoothest motion and the least amount of hopping around on the piano. So I might start this with the inversion of an F chord that has C, F, A, just to get the chords together and just see how that goes. So I'll play it once over here with that. I know I'm off screen here, but I'm sure you can live without me for a few minutes. So I'm choosing C, F, A. For my B flats, I'll play D, F, B flat, and maybe I'll play C, E, G for my C chords. So it would sound like this, and you do it with me. 1, 2, ready, and F. B flat, C, F. That repeats. Now we're at the second half, and so that's where the melody goes up high. 2, 3, 4. B flat. Here's that C. So that's a little thing to notice. Remember, there's a C there. All right. So hopefully you've got that down. If you'd like, take a second and scribble it down. And if you want to have something to look at or follow your ear, when I think about chords, I try to think about just not only their order in a memorization type way, but the way they sound. The F sounds done. 1 is done, as I like to say. 1 is done, and here's the 4. 4 once more. It's on the way to the 5 chord, and 5 is alive. It wants to resolve. So I try to hear the qualities, and by that I don't mean major and minor as much as I mean their functional harmony, the way they want to roll, the tendencies of these chords. If you listen for those, it can help your memorization. So I'm going to go back to the piano here and just kind of have some fun playing that a little bit. So let's have a listen to that so far with a cool beat, and And let's just see how that goes. This is a backing track I made for the, by the way, this is a tune that's in my That's Jazz Christmas series. This happens to be in book 2. There's a book 3 and a book 1, all by level. And if you want to see a written out version of this, that's in that series. But you don't need a written out version. A friend of mine said recently that I write books about how not to use books. So that's kind of an oxymoron, right? All right, so let's just play those chords maybe with this if you want to play along at home. Then we'll dress it up and jazz it up a little bit. So let's just start with an introduction of 4 measures. So we just play F, B flat, C. Here's the melody, M, B flat, C. That repeats. Just play all F here. B flat, C. C. Here's that extension. All right. So that's your basics. Now, let's jazz this up. Let's have a little fun with this. As an arranger or as an improviser, you want to look for the twist. Last month we did Deck the Halls with a Latin bass line. And so we can try to mess around with some what I call stock piano styles to see what would work here. So we could try a Latin bass line without breaking that down. It might be something like let's try that with a beat. So I'm not loving that, and that's why I didn't do it. I thought that maybe just wasn't the best fit for this tune. In the first one of this series, we did Go Tell It on the Mountain, which we put a kind of a rolling bass in the left hand, a sort of a hybrid boogie pattern. We could try it as a stride piece. That seems kind of boring to me, so maybe we would dress it up with a ragtime feel. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't fit, right? It's this gentle song. So what I decided to do in this version, and you're welcome to use your own, is to go ahead and plug in that basic boogie left hand that a lot of us learned. And there's a lot of boogie left hands. There's a lot of cool patterns, and you could put in any one that you like. The one that is probably the most accessible for most of us would be the notes F, C, and F, D. So we know that sound. What we can do is play that boogie pattern, but we'll play it on these chords of F, B flat, and C. And now we'll do that on B flat. We only have just a minute to do it, though, because it goes by fast. It goes by so fast, we might just choose to just play chords. So we're going to have that underpinning of a boogie pattern, and we're going to do that in a straight feel, which you heard earlier is kind of a Jerry Lee Lewis way of playing these boogie patterns, meaning that rock and roll took the swing out of boogie and made it straight, and that kind of started the whole Chuck Berry and the whole early rock scene. So we could run it like that, and then let's just try that once together. So I'll call out the chords, and we'll play that together. 1, 2, boogie in the left hand, B flat. That repeats. B flat, C. C. That's the one that can catch you, right? All right, now we're going to have a little bit of fun with this to doll it up even more. And by the way, just to demonstrate, we could do all kinds of left-hand patterns. They're like... There's lots of cool patterns. That kind of stuff. But today we'll just keep it on that simple F, C, and F, D. I mention that because sometimes people say the boogie pattern. It's like, which one? There's lots of ways to play a boogie left hand. So we're going to doll this up a little bit, and I want to think about first just the second half of it, because it gets a little repetitive. We have all that F, B flat, C, F, B flat, C, and so I was looking for a twist when I put together this simple arrangement, just an intermediate arrangement, and added a few chords. Now I like bass lines. I like to have lines in the music that not just chords. So I looked for a way that we could get from F to B flat in an orderly fashion, I guess, or in a contiguous fashion. And here's what I came up with: F and a C chord, but over an E bass. So we're going to play C over E, and that gives us some motion here. And the logical way to follow that up is a D minor. Is it a D minor 7 or a D minor? You decide. It could go either way. There goes my stand. Okay, come back. We can put a 7 on there. It's optional. And then we need some kind of a C note to get to the B flat. Well, a C chord doesn't work so well here, so we're doing F over C. So now we have that nice little line coming down. F, E, D, 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 do, D, do, D, D. And then I liked it so much I decided just to do it again. So let's just do that bass line twice. And notice how this makes the whole second half have a whole different variety compared to the first half. The C was already there, so that brings us right into to where we need to be. And so the boogie pattern is going to have to stop there in order to do that little downhill pattern because it's got too much note motion. So you could just play single notes, or you could play thirds, or you could play whole chords. So you can solve how you want to do that. You could even put a little bit of harmony in the right hand. Let's listen to it on the piano. It's from the second half there. This part is the same. It goes up, but the chords go down. All right, so now that is what I ended up putting in the book, and that is sufficient. But I'll show you a couple of other tricks we can do it. I just want to check in with my buddies here for a little bit. Nice save with a whiteboard stand. Yeah, nothing like live stuff. Anna says it was cool, like a straight boogie beat in the bass and swinging the melody. Yeah, I do tend to sort of mix those up. Reggae would be cool, says Marty. Let's see. Oh, wish I had a quick reggae beat. I love the participation. I'm gonna do a little cheat here for a second and see if I can quickly pull up a reggae beat on my other iReal Pro, which is an app that I can't live without. Let's see, and we'll put that on a reggae beat. I pulled up an blank just drums. This is gonna take a chance here. Let's hear this first. This is not the way I was gonna go with this, but why not? Got to hear the beat first. Let's see. I'm having trouble lining it up. Let's listen again. A little bit of real life experimentation. This is what the arranger does. Get that in my bones here. Go. Thanks a lot, Marty, for put me on the spot to see if I could meet the challenge. We're going to rename this Improv Tip of the Month to Chump the Stump. So it was interesting. I was deciding whether I wanted to put the chords on 2 and 4 or on all the and beats, and that's what I was thinking about in there. Anyway, okay, so let's go back to the chords here and look at something else you can do on the front. Just if you want to go a little bit further with this, I'm always looking for lines. So I was thinking just a few minutes before we started this about taking a cue from Blackbird, Paul McCartney's Blackbird, the famous Beatles tune. So let's listen to that, how that would sound. Let's see. Right? So he has F, G minor, F over A. I thought, oh, I like that motion, and the chords are pretty similar after that too. Who knows? Maybe he was listening to good King Wenceslas when he came up with that. Actually, he wasn't. There's a story about him imitating a Bach bourrée. So if you want, we could put that in there if we had to get away from the boogie there. So these are just optional, and just in the service of the idea of how you look for things. Maybe we did reject this experiment, but we try it. And then I thought about, well, maybe we could go down here, but we already go down here. So I don't know, what would it sound like if we I'll just take a chance and do a jazz thing here. This might not sound so good. I haven't tried this yet. I'll do a little 2-5 here. C, F7. Let's see how that sounds. This is the way the arranger thinks. The first one. I like that. Let's try the second one. That's nice too. More of a jazzy thing. So we'll consider those maybes. And if you want to have some fun and play a slower version, you might get more into this sound. And if you're looking for just some motion, you might get into that sound. But for now, I'll leave those out. And then just share with you how we might embellish this just a little bit in the last 5 minutes here. Let's just take a few minutes here and think about some ways to dress this up. One thing we can do is add a little bit of right hand to the left hand motion. We have that FC, FD sound. So this is out of the playbook of Dr. John in New Orleans. We're going to play that FC, FD, but we're going to play A, B flat in the right hand. So that gives that, a little bit of motion and more harmony. And you can even add another note. So we're going to play A and C and B flat and D. Now we have... Okay, and now another thing that you can think about is changing the rhythm. So here we have this rhythm board, and if we think about it, turn around upside down. Da, 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 da. Well, to give it a little more zip, let's make a syncopation here. Da, do, ba, by anticipating this last note. Dee, 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 da. So we're going to hit this one a little bit early. These represent 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the second measure, 1 and 2 and. So in the and of 2, we're going to pop that measure in a little bit, that note a little bit early. So it's going to sound like this. And our left hand can reflect that as well. Right? You can do it there too. Anticipate. Anticipate. And one more time. So we're going to keep that 1, 2, and 1, 2. All right. Now, it's too little time here to improvise on this tune, but I'll just say that if you just, a really nice go-to is to drag that third finger in your right hand from the A flat into the A with the same finger. And I'm going to play a C in my pinky at the same time. So instead of playing A, C, A, C, I'm going to play A flat, A, C, because that third finger is dragging. I'm just pulling it off that black key right onto the white. And then I can play a B flat chord in between. F chord, B flat chord. So there's a lot of more we could talk about with a way to improvise on that. But let's take one last look at the chords and we'll get you out of here. So we have F on a boogie feel. We could remind ourselves of that if you're making a chart, a chord chart for yourself. We might just put 6s on these. So F5, F6. that kind of stuff to remind us that it's that boogie pattern. These we decided were optional. I just wanted to explore those with you, but we'll keep this bass line here. Again, you could just play the 1, 4, and 5, and it would sound just fine. You might even hold off on this bass line or these alternative chords or substitutions to a little later in the piece. After you've played it a few times through, you want that variety. That'd be a good time to bring in that change. I'm going to just take it out and have some fun on it a little bit, and I'm going to do that with a different backing track from the one I opened up with because I want to have a little longer time to improvise and have some fun with it. So let me just dial that up here using iReal Pro and have my playlist all set here. So I just can quickly get to Good King Wenceslas, if that's how you say it. And I'll just describe what I'm doing, if you like, and try to explain what comes out. And if you've got to move on today, then that's fine. But I'll just go ahead and do some ramming and jamming here at the end. Thanks, Diana, for that description of how I like to play. And I'll just have some fun with this. Play it through like 3 times or whatever. And here it is, I guess. Less to do, I should say. All right, so let's have a listen to that. Start with an intro. 5, 6, 7. Here's the tune. Now embellish that. That's what I'm thinking about. Make the melody recognizable, but embellish. Do a little rocking out here. Now solo. Here's that descending bass line. So since my left hand went down, I decided to bring my right up. Let's tag it. There's that Dr. John trick. All right. Until next time, you enjoy your creative music-making journey. I'm Bradley Sowash, jazz pianist and educator. Bye for the moment.